He recently perished, and we decided to honor him by naming the hard fork after him.
That Chairman Powell was basically going to say, we're keeping at it, and we almost don't care what happens to the economy.
At the time that I really hated crypto, I stand by everything I said.
In this episode, Charles Hoskinson explains why Cardano's upcoming update is named Vasil. Cathie Wood believes the Fed will not stop increasing interest rates until they reach 2% inflation. Usually, that means bad news for markets in general, including crypto. Jordan Belfort is a long-term crypto investor. This is the State of Crypto. Subscribe and hit the like button.
And we now have an official date for the Vasil Hard Fork Combinator event, September 22nd. What's so amazing about that date is it randomly and just so happenly falls on the Independence Day of Bulgaria. As you know, the Vasil Hard Fork is named after Vasil. He is was a Bulgarian mathematician who is a good friend of our ecosystem. He spent his life planting over 10,000 trees, and he recently perished, and we decided to honor him by naming the hard fork after him. And it just random luck that it fell on the Independence Day of Bulgaria. How about that? Pretty special.
Chairman Powell gave his annual presentation at Jackson Hole, or gave the Fed's annual presentation. And we read line by line what he said, and it was very interesting. He invoked the name of Volcker, former Federal Reserve Chairman Volcker, who really combated the inflation of the late 70s and early 80s. He invoked his name twice, but he also hinted by using the phrase keep at it or keeping at it twice. So that was really a reference to the late 70s, early 80s. And I really do believe that the Fed believes that we have a problem that might be that significant. If they didn't believe it, they wouldn't be acting this quickly. And I think they're awfully afraid of ruining their own legacies. They do not want to be known as the Federal Reserve members who presided over another big wave of inflation. And as we've been saying for quite some time, we think this inflation is more associated with the shock of COVID and the rebound and all of the distortions that took place because of it. And we're getting more and more evidence about that. Now, one of the things that concerns us is because they are so fearful, the Fed members have taken the Fed funds rate up from 25 basis points, so 0.25%, to 250 basis points, 2.5%, in the span of a half year. That's a tenfold increase. Now, we were in a period, especially after 0809, where the Fed was, basically laying low and just letting the economy heal. And so we had this extended period of very low interest rates, which started to change in 2017-18. And then they had to rein it back in because at the end of 2018, the economy looked like it was going to fall apart. And then, of course, in 2020, we had COVID. Nonetheless, for most of the last decade, very low interest rates, very little movement in interest rates, and now all of a sudden, a tenfold increase in short-term interest rates. Many people are using the level of interest rates to suggest that this is not really tight monetary policy. It's only 2.5% on the interest rate. But I really believe that change has been a tremendous shock to our system and certainly to housing. We're seeing statistics, and I'll go into them in a moment, all over the place, that housing is in a recession. And I do believe we're seeing evidence that prices are going to follow. So we're concerned that the Fed's overdoing it, and that in invoking Volcker's name twice, outright and then indirectly twice, that Chairman Powell was basically going to say, we're keeping at it, and we almost don't care what happens to the economy. And in the statement, it was very interesting. There was no focus on real economic activity. The only focus was on inflation. So that was a clear message. We don't care. We just want 2% inflation.
At the beginning, you were kind of hostile to the cryptocurrency sector, but then you changed your position. When did you change your position, and why did you have this change of heart?
So it wasn't an epiphany in one moment. But I think the interesting thing is, the way you phrased that was very fair, but sometimes people will be like, I can't believe you were once negative. I'm like, did you ever hear of changing your mind on new information? I mean, like, living an empowered life is based on, like, seeing what's going on around you, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, seeing what things change, and then constantly adapting and growing, right? At the time that I really hated crypto, I stand by everything I said about crypto in 2017, except for one thing. I was wrong about Bitcoin going to zero.
We all want to hedge against inflation. Would you back gold or would you back Bitcoin?
I think the issue right now is you have to look at Bitcoin and not take a 12-month or 24-month horizon. With reasonable luck, I think if you take a 24-month horizon, you'll almost certainly make money. Maybe not. But I think if you take a 3, 4, 5-year horizon, I would be shocked if you didn't make money, because the underlying fundamentals, I believe, are really strong. There's a limited supply, and as inflation does keep going and going and going, at some point in time, there'll be enough maturity with Bitcoin where it starts to trade more like a store of value and less like a growth stock.
If I'm an investor and I'm a crypto investor, retail, and I want to do a long-term play, number one, what do you think?
Bitcoin.
Number two,
Ethereum.
number three,
Bitcoin.